Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Before I begin, don't forget to join my new Discord server called Luke 10's Hangar. I plan on joining weekly, so if anybody wants to fly together, we can make that happen. My Discord server is linked down in the description below. Today I'll be flying the Brewster B-239. The B-239 was originally designed by Brewster Aeronautical Corporation in the late 1930s. The B-239 is just a better version of the F-2A-1 Buffalo. The F-2A Buffalo was a carrier-based fighter aircraft that entered service with the U.S. Navy and other forces before and during World War II. Despite its early promise, the Buffalo suffered from design shortcomings that led to its controversial reputation. The B-239 outclassed the F-2A Buffalo because of its more powerful engine and better armament. The B-239 was powered by a Wright R-1820 G5 radial engine and had 450 caliber machine guns. The Finnish Air Force acquired 44 Brewster B-239 Buffaloes from the United States during World War II. The B-239 was primarily used in the continuation war against the Soviet Union alongside Germany. Despite its poor reputation in the Pacific, the Finnish Air Force found the B-239 to be surprisingly effective in their specific operational environment. While the Buffalo was not the most agile fighter, it was relatively durable and could withstand some damage while still flying. The Finnish pilots employed tactics that allowed them to get the most out of the Buffalo, such as relying on ambushes and using the aircraft in a defensive role. The Finnish B-239s were used effectively for ground attack missions and air superiority in smaller engagements against the Soviet Air Force, achieving some success. Finnish B-239s were particularly active in intercepting Soviet bombers and engaging in fighter sweeps. The B-239 became one of the backbone aircraft of the Finnish Air Force during the continuation war. Though it was outdated by 1941 standards, the aircraft was still used in over 1,000 combat missions and helped to score numerous kills against Soviet aircraft. Finnish pilots also used the B-239 in a number of ground attack missions and reconnaissance missions where it performed relatively well. The legacy of the Brewster F-2A Buffalo and the B-239 is thus mixed. It is remembered as a failed design in the US, but as a resilient and valuable asset for Finland in the fight against the Soviet Union. That's all for the history lesson. I hope you enjoy the combat. Right now I'm just trying to climb as high as I can so I can boom and zoom some people. The B-239 is basically just a better Buffalo, but it's at a higher BR, so that means it'll fight aircraft that are probably going to be better than it. For example, the aircraft that you're most likely going to be facing that are going to be better than you are going to be the P-38s, P-39s, Corsairs, and a couple other aircraft. Your main strength is definitely going to be your maneuverability. This aircraft is not very fast. This aircraft's climb rate and energy retention are pretty good for this BR. You're definitely going to be able to win a lot of dogfights if you just turn fight these people. I would definitely try to stay away from the aircraft that you know can outturn you, such as the Spitfire Mark I, Zeros, things like those. I'm just recommending that you use your maneuverability to your advantage because this aircraft really isn't very fast. Right now I'm just looking for a lone enemy to boom and zoom. I'm way above everybody, so I'm going to start my descent here. I don't want to be too high to where I can't help out my team or get into the action. As I'm in the dive, I'm always going to be looking around me, being aware of all my surroundings. Don't know why my screen glitched there. I see this lone P-51 who's low and slow. He's definitely going to be a great target for me to pick. As I get closer to him here, I'm just going to hold down the trigger. Hit him there. Gave him a fuel leak, set him on fire, and I take him out. Now immediately after the kill, I'm going to look to my right and see the Key 43. All I have to do here is just use my energy to my advantage. Notice how I'm also always looking around me, being aware of all my surroundings. I get the Key 43's back, fire at him there, and now he's a fireball. And then once again, immediately after the kill, I'm going to climb back up to altitude, and I'm always going to be looking around me, being aware of all my surroundings. As I'm climbing back up to altitude, I see a Key 43 and a P-36. The P-36 is a lot closer to me. I'm going to try to go for the P-36. The P-36 starts to dive on my ally. I'm going to help out my ally here. I get the P-36 back. Fire at him there. And as he pulls up, he's just going to lose speed and energy, get severe damage, and I take him out. I just have to make sure that I don't cross that P-36's nose. I don't feel like dying today. And then once again, immediately after that kill, I'm going to climb back up to altitude, and I'm always going to be looking around me, being aware of all my surroundings. Thankfully, that Key 43 crashed. If that Key 43 stayed alive and was still off my left, I would definitely want to try to stay above him. Key 43s in general are very nimble and can outturn pretty much anything. So to win almost any dogfight against the Key 43, all you have to do is just boom and zoom them. They're not very powerful aircraft. It's the same thing for a Zero or really any Japanese fighter. All you have to do is just boom and zoom them. Most of them aren't very powerful, but they're definitely very maneuverable. Now I'm just going to head over to the enemy airfield and see if I can get lucky with any aircraft that have landed. I'm heading over to the close airfield with no artillery. If you're trying to fly around the far airfield, you definitely have to fly at a very high altitude. You don't want to get hit by flak. I've been in games where I've had over 5 teammates on my team and only 1 enemy on the enemy team. And yet in the end it'll still become a 1v1 because my entire team just dies to the flak. Thankfully I won't be having that issue because the close airfield doesn't have artillery. I don't see anybody at the close airfield, so now I'm just going to look towards the far airfield. I still have no luck with seeing anybody at their airfield, so now I'm just going to look around me, always being aware of all my surroundings. I really don't want anybody to come out of Narnia. And then because I'm aware of all my surroundings, I'm able to spot the last enemy, who's a P-63. The P-63 starts to dive, and since there's nobody left in the game except for him, I'm going to follow him. If there were still people left in the game, you definitely have to be aware of where they are if you're going to follow somebody. You definitely don't want to give up the altitude advantage. I see that the P-63 starts to level out. I know that he's a lot faster than I am, so I'm just going to keep my altitude here. But then he's definitely not looking around him, being aware of all of his surroundings, and starts to turn in towards me. As he turns in, I'm just going to follow him down. My wingman Max is able to hit him there. I hit him there too. And then as I'm following him, he starts to panic and turn in with me. Definitely not a very good idea. Now all I have to do here is just not overshoot. I'm going to kill my power to make sure of it. You just have to remember that just because you killed your power doesn't mean you won't overshoot. I make sure I lose some of my speed and energy in that turn. I get some really good hits on him and set his wing on fire. And then my game starts having a seizure every time I zoom in. I fire at him there. And he's going down. Just like that, we're able to win the game. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my video. If anybody has any suggestions on what aircraft they want me to fly next, please leave it in the comment section down below, and I'd be happy to fly that aircraft.